So this afternoon, we're going to be discussing ACGME requirements for faculty and other staff for residency programs. We're going to talk a little bit about faculty recruitment and other program recruitment, the ACGME ADS system, and the application process as it relates to the ADS system. And if we have time, we'll go over some Q&A. So ACGME requirements. Faculty qualifications. Faculty as defined by the ACGME is the entire teaching force that is responsible for teaching residents. So that's anyone, whether they're a physician or not, who teaches the residents. So this could be a PhD, nurses, social workers, depending upon your specialty. All physicians must be board certified. This is an absolute requirement. We have seen several citations in the past, even for not recording the expiration date appropriately. There are some exceptions. I have seen the review committee make an exception for a physician who was board certified out of Europe. It was the European Association of Urology, and that was their boarding system. And what we ended up doing was submitting her CV, her board certification, information on that particular board, and it was reviewed and they came back and approved it. But that, you know, still she's board certified even if it wasn't an ABMS board. There are different kinds of faculty. You have adjunct or part-time faculty, regular faculty, and core faculty. Core faculty is plays a significant role that devotes a significant portion of time. Again, that is ACGME's definition. There used to be a minimum requirement for, sorry about that, someone just came in. There used to be a minimum requirement for hours, and the RCs and ACGME Common requirements have removed that, and they have now defined core faculty as just simply a faculty member that has been assigned by the program director. Some specialties do carry some minimum requirements though. For example, internal medicine does give you a guideline of 15 hours a week devoted to residency administration. When you look at what is a significant role for the program, it could be anything. I've seen core faculty members who were directors of didactics, for example, or in charge of the research for a residency program, or someone who ran the mentorship program. What you're looking for is someone who's just giving more of their time beyond just teaching and evaluating residents. Faculty responsibilities. I once had a site reviewer state that there were 5 responsibilities for all faculty. They are to deliver the educational program, so teach, know your goals and objectives, know what procedures are taught as applicable, discuss resident skill progression, communicate issues with the program director and leadership. Evaluation, evaluate the residents after each rotation or every 3 months, whichever is more frequent, and evaluate the program annually. Core faculty members, side note, are required to complete the ACGME faculty survey. Your other faculty are not required. Scholarly activity is something that faculty members need to do. And this isn't just publications or journals, but posters and other presentations to the faculty, to the community in general. Those all qualify as well as noon conferences. Professional development is another responsibility. They need to put time into their own development. And that means attending conferences, get CME that is specific to training residents. And there are several resources, whether it's through your specialty or the ACGME or other programs that are, commercial programs that do training. And finally, the faculty is supposed to assure the working and learning environment. And what this means is, make sure that your residents are fit for duty, making sure that the faculty is fit for duty, keeping track of resident and faculty wellness, fatigue mitigation, making sure that they are not violating duty hours. Other requirements for programs are there's no faculty requirement for non-core faculty, by the way. Coordinators are a requirement. The minimum requirement is 0.5 FTE or 20 hours a week, but there are specialties that require more. Family medicine, for example, requires a full-time employee as a coordinator, and others vary by program size or number of chief residents. For example, surgery is 1 per chief resident, which is kind of odd, but that's how they've selected what they're going to do. They also do not allow a coordinator to manage more than 20 residents at a time. So the point is to check your residency requirements. Sorry, I've got a bar that was in the way. It was very distracting. There are other requirements for programs, and it varies by specialty. Some programs require an associate or an assistant program director. Others, internal medicine specifically, require subspecialty education coordinators. And those are faculty members who are responsible for the educational program of their specific subspecialty. They are required for rheumatology, GI, endocrinology, cardiology, and a few other of the IM subs. And other specialties require special directors. So dermatology, for example, requires a director of dermatopathology, and they also require a surgical and procedure director. And again, similar to the subspecialty education coordinators, those special directors are responsible for the curriculum, whether it be the core curriculum, lectures, as well as clinical skills training. So let's go on to faculty recruitment. There are certain faculty competencies that you want to look for when you are recruiting your faculty. Try to remember the tripartite mission of academic institutions, which are clinical care, medical education, and research. And those are the 3 points of our pyramid here. You want good teachers who have scholarly activity and who can show good clinical skills, because they will be taking care of patients as well and modeling for your residents. The inside of this pyramid kind of rounds out the rest of what you are looking for in your faculty members. Looking for leadership, someone who is going to engage with the residents as well as the community and do outreach. You want someone who is a lifelong learner, so that is something that needs to be role modeled for the residents. We want someone who values diversity. I'll be touching on that in a minute. And building relationships both with the faculty and with the residents. And of course, collaboration is very important, especially as we are training residents in interprofessional collaboration. Recruiting strategies. So once you know what you have in mind for your faculty, you need to create a job description. So this is going to be duties, hours, qualifications, and this is for all your faculty. You really should have a description for all forms of faculty, whether they're your core faculty, regular full-time, adjunct, or volunteer faculty. You need to have a sense of what you want them to do, and so that they have a clear understanding of what their responsibilities are, even if you don't necessarily have a contract per se. So, look at how many hours are dedicated to teaching and to clinical duties. Keep in mind that some specialties may have specific requirements. For example, family medicine has patient care requirements of their faculty members. And faculty members also need to have privileges at the hospitals where their continuity patients are seen. So keep those things in mind as you are building out your job description. Next, establish a search committee. It shouldn't just be you. So should you include the DIO? Should someone from HR or recruitment be a part of it? The program director, if you're not searching for them, should be a part of that search committee as well. So the next step is to write your job posting. Now that you know what you want, you have a focused idea of what you're looking for, you know what the qualifications are, you know what the responsibilities are. So you write that job posting and you select where to post for the position, whether it's through the ACGME, your specialty organizations, your hospital or company website, and wherever else your resources can give you. And of course, we can't talk about recruiting without discussing diversity for a moment, not only because it is an ACGME hot button, but because it is just so important. Diversity in our residency programs enhance patient-provider relationships. It improves access and patient quality care. The more perspectives you have, the better it is for decision-making and problem solving. And you also get different perspectives on research as well. We want our physician teachers to represent our trainees and our communities. And, you know, it's always fair to say that a diverse faculty equals a diverse resident body. In order to meet workforce demands and to retain high quality physicians, we really need to address gender bias and representation in medicine. Of course, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here. I think you all know that. So how do we recruit for diversity? Well, you know, be intentional. Have a diverse search committee so that you're ensuring that all of your candidates will meet a diverse set of people as well, so that they're more likely to feel a sense of community as they're interviewing. Make sure your mission statement reflects a commitment to diversity. Does the job description include an aspect of diversity? You know, stating that, you know, that you're looking for someone that has experience working with and teaching or mentoring a diverse group of students or residents, for example. You have institutional support and resources. So this is where you put your money where your mouth is. As the designer or creator of the sponsoring institution, it's in your power to create and develop solutions for the diversity challenge and the recruitment challenge in general. You know, in one of the studies I read, Peak's study, I believe, he stated that recruitment packages were the primary factor of successful recruitment of underrepresented minorities. But the recruitment package wasn't just about the money. That also included CME funds, supportive environments, room for growth, development, flexible hours, and diverse work experiences. So you need to keep a look at the big picture when you're developing your packages for what you offer your faculty. And finally, utilize your sphere of influence and your social relationships. You know, put the word out to your colleagues, attend national conferences and connect with as many promising candidates for faculty as you can. And then, you know, do your follow-up. Put the word out. Let your colleagues know that you're starting a residency program and that you're looking for good faculty members, and use your connections through your various specialty organizations, such as APDIM for internal medicine or the AAFP for family medicine, so forth. Once your program is up and running, you can work on your retention strategies and grow your own from there and recruit your residents. I thought this was an interesting quotation also from Peak's paper. It was a program director who was recruiting for 2 faculty members, and no one responded to the actual ad they posted. All of the candidates that he had were, somebody sent me the name of somebody who knew somebody. And isn't that the way it goes? It's usually our connections. Like the saying goes, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So other recruitment needs. Other positions you may need to recruit for include your GME administrator and your coordinators. You'll have your program coordinator, and you may or may not need a GME coordinator, depending upon how many programs you're building out and what your structure is. Your administrator may be able to take care of the more clerical tasks that are required on the institutional level. Some programs allow for only the half FTE, which means that you can combine your GME and your program coordinator as one position. And that is very helpful when you're just getting off the ground. You don't need to have 2 full-time FTE for something like that, especially if you only have 1 or 2 programs as well. That could be a permanent feature. Now let's get on to ADS. ADS is the Accreditation Data System. It was developed in 2000 originally, and it was fully operational in 2001. Back in the day, it was a place where you just filled out lots of forms. The PIF, or the PIF, was a big part of what that system was. It is available to all GME stakeholders, including your DIO, your GME staff, program directors and coordinators, residents, faculty, as well as the public. It is part of what is called the data collection system, which consists of a communications portal, ADS, which is where we do our applications, our annual updates and requests for complement increase, the resident portal and case log system, and your survey system. So ADS has a little something for everyone. As you can see, your various stages of stakeholders, the program director and coordinator, you have access to ADS, which, as I said, they do their annual updates, they create new applications, they do requests for complement increases or major changes, and it's also where they input their milestones twice a year. They have access to the case log system, so they can view reports and keep an eye on the progress of their residents. And they also have communications. ADS is the primary form of communication by the ACGME. That is where they send notices, they send you your citation letters, notices of site visits, and so forth. The DIO and the GME office also have access to ADS. This is where the DIO initiates applications and reviews them, and ultimately approves not only applications, but also requests for change, and such as a complement increase or a change in the structure of the curriculum. They also have access to case logs to look on an institutional level and by program how their residents are doing. This is part of the GME's oversight requirement. And again, communications module. Residents have access to their case logs where they enter their case logs, and they can also pull their own reports for privileging purposes. They have the resident survey that needs to be completed every year. And they can also view their milestone ratings that the program directors have entered for them. Faculty have the survey view. They can only conduct their own surveys. And I believe they can see the results of the surveys they participated in, but I'm not sure. And finally, the public. We can go on to ACGME's ADS and pull up general information on programs and institutions. So for example, I could look up all the sponsoring institutions in the state of California, and it will give me a list of everyone, all of their DIOs, and how many programs they're running. And you can also drill down a little deeper and look at each one of those programs. And that will give you information on the coordinator, the director, how many residents they have approval for, and it'll give you links to the website. It's an excellent resource, particularly for people that are looking at expanding residencies into or connecting with other programs, or even for students that are looking to see all the possible programs out there. So how do we start up our program with ADS? It is a 3-step process. First, you create your sponsoring institution, and that involves a letter of intent and application submission. And then we have our program applications that are initiated by the DIO, completed by the program director, and ultimately sent up by the DIO. And then you have your site visit. They will send you notification and you have your site visit day. So step one, when you apply as a sponsoring institution, you need to complete a letter of intent that spells out who the DIO is. And if you have your administrator, you can also cite your administrator as well. You email that to the Institutional Review Committee, and they will reply back with your ADS login information. That enables you to go into ADS and initiate your sponsoring institution application. This is completed by the DIO and or the GME administrator, ultimately submitted by the DIO. And it involves a series of questions surrounding various topics that include your organizational structure, what resources you have, and the learning and working environment. They also require a document upload that includes an organizational chart, listing of some resources and policies. They specifically ask for oversight policies, and they also ask for program letters of agreement or affiliation agreements if you have affiliated institutions already named in your application. The Institutional Review Committee meets 3 times a year, and they're pretty good about notifying you within 5 days of their meeting dates whether or not you have received pre-accreditation. They will send you a detailed letter following, usually within 6 to 8 weeks, that give you a listing of any citations or areas of concern for improvement. You have a site visit approximately 2 to 3 years later. And if you do not have a program already in place by that first site visit, they'll give you 1 more year. And if after 3 years you don't have a program, and they recommend that you rescind your application and resubmit when you're ready to actually start your programs. The second step of creating your program is to do your program applications. And this is also in 2 parts. The DIO will initiate the program application and designate the PD, and ADS will create the login for the program director, who will then go in and create the application. It's very important to know your program requirements. So check on your program requirements and make sure that as you answer these questions, you are in compliance with those requirements. So there are 2 applications. One is called the Common Application that is required of all residency programs and fellowships. And the second is called the Specialty Specific Application, which is obviously for each specialty. So the Common Application is an online series of questions, and these are surrounding the program's mission, vision, and aims, and you actually do have to list your mission statement and align it with your institution's statement. It also asks for the training sites that you will be using, who your faculty are, policies and procedures, and also resources. They will ask for detailed CVs of all of your faculty members. Again, make sure all of your faculty are board certified. They do check this. They go into the ABMS to confirm that faculty have their certifications. We always recommend that when you complete your application, that you pull down and print the board certification so you have a copy of them, or get the actual board certification document from your physicians. The specialty specific application is a Word document. So you're going to upload this with your online application as part of the full submission. It also asks for some common information across specialties. So All of them will ask about program administration and leadership. All of them will ask about how you will address competencies and your curriculum. And from there, then it really varies by specialty. And like it's all over the place. So family medicine, for example, they ask for a lot of numbers. They want to know numbers of inpatient and outpatient procedures, how many beds, how many deliveries, how many C-sections are done for each training site that you have those rotations in. They also ask for patient demographics, for example, age and gender. And this is because family medicine places a lot of importance on a variety of patients that the residents are going to see, and they have specific requirements of the residents seeing a specific demographic. For example, they require that all of their residents see at least 165 patients under the age of 10. Internal medicine, they have a lot of narratives. They want to know how things are done. They want you to describe how you teach a particular subject, how you conduct faculty development. Lots of narratives, not so many numbers. They do ask about call, and they also ask about duty hour compliance. That's probably the extent of the numbers you see in those applications. Psych, it's also a lot of narratives. It's about what is being taught and how, and they want detailed information on didactics, for example. So they really vary based on the specialty. Once again, and I cannot stress this enough, review your program requirements. This is going to outline exactly what you need to answer in all of those questions, or what you need to address to make sure that you are compliant to those program requirements. So once you've completed the Word document and your online document, then you're going to submit that along with the required documents. The ACGME requires that you submit your block schedule, certain policies, sample evaluations, your goal, a sample set of goals and objectives for a rotation. They don't ask for all of them, but they do want to see one. And all of your PLAs for all of those training sites that you listed in your application. So the PD submits with the document upload. It will go to the DIO for approval. This is a step that is very important, and keep in mind that I'm only outlining things that are specific to the online application process. There are other things in the background that are happening. For example, you need to have your GMEC approve your application and your program director and your policies, and a series of other things that need to be done before that DIO can do the final approval and submission. Once it is submitted, your program will receive what's called pre-accreditation, and then you wait. You wait to hear back about your site visit. Your timing here is critical because you need to have a site visit before you can go on to the review committee's agenda to actually get full approval. And you need to give them about 2 to 3 months to schedule and conduct the site visit. So look at your deadline date for the agenda and back in about 2 to 3 months, and that tells you when you should really have your application submitted. So the site visit is the third part, and that's where the real work begins, and in my opinion, the fun stuff. So you'll receive a notification from the ACGME Field Activities team. They will first send you an email asking you for your blackout dates, and then they'll give you notification, usually, like I said, 30 to 90 days after your submission of your date. They'll also let you know who your site visitor is, and they'll send you a profile so you know who you'll be meeting. The site visitor will reach out. Sometimes they ask for additional documentation, and they'll set up their meeting. Right now, ACGME is doing all of their site visits virtually through Zoom. So there's a couple extra steps involving getting emails to them for the faculty meetings and so forth. So just one or two extra steps, but actually the virtual site visit is proven to be pretty convenient and kind of easy, actually, considering. It's much, I felt, less pressure than having them come out to your site. So how do you prepare for this? Again, review your program requirements. I'm sure you're seeing a theme here. Gather together your documents. You meet with your faculty. Make sure that they have the goals and objectives for their rotations. Show them the evaluation forms. Make sure that they know what they're doing for the program. Hopefully by this point, the faculty has been involved in helping you design the curriculum and the goals and objectives and so forth. So, you know, they know already what's happening, but there are times when the program director is doing a lot of this on their own. And so you want to make sure that the faculty is read in on what's going on. They will be answering questions. Meet with your DIO, make sure that everything is in place as far as resources go. The DIO is also interviewed in the site visit, so you want to make sure that they have a clear understanding of how you have set up your program, and you have a clear understanding of what the sponsoring institution does and what resources they're offering you and your faculty. And you cross-check and you check again to those program requirements. Make sure that your application is in line with all of the program requirements. If you catch any mistakes or any areas for concern, make a note, create solutions if you can, so that if they're addressed by that site visitor, you already have an answer in place. And then you wait again. Once your site visit is over, the site visitor will create a report, package up that report along with your application and any other documents and send them to the RC. Sometimes during a site visit, they may give you the opportunity to revise a document, revise a policy, fix an error here or there, make a change to the block schedule. This initial site visit, they really like to provide training. They see it really as a learning opportunity for the programs. So oftentimes they will give you tips and tell you to, how to make adjustments so that they can send the best package to the RC for review. You wait again until you hear from the RC. Again, they're pretty good about getting you notified within about 5 days of the review committee meeting, just to let you know that, yes, you are now accredited, or if there are issues they were unable to accredit you for. And then they will send up a follow-up letter that has your citations and your areas for improvement. So what do you do now? Well, you read your institutional requirements and your common and specialty application if you know what specialty you're looking for. Read the requirements and the applications so that you know what they're going to be asking. The ACGME has all of the applications on their website. You can pull down a Word document and see what it is that they're going to be asking. They have recently updated program requirements, so the applications might be changing depending upon what specialty and when you're checking it out. So be sure to go back to their website frequently between now and the time that you actually submit to make sure that you have the right set of questions, because they do change their questions rather frequently. Recruit for your institution, recruit for your program, put out those feelers for your program directors and your APDs and your faculty. Talk to different programs that are graduating residents so that maybe you can recruit some junior faculty. And you connect, make your partnerships. meet with your potential participating sites. Start building those relationships that you're going to need as you develop your sponsoring institution and your programs. And have fun. Building a program, excuse me, is a lot of hard work, but it's also a very creative process. And building curriculum and setting these things up and standing them up is very rewarding, and I think can be a lot of fun, but kind of a nerd about these things. So that is it as far as what the presentation is. Does anyone have any questions? All right then. Thank you so much for participating and for listening to this. If you have any questions, feel free to send a follow-up email. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. This website or this presentation and Christy's PowerPoint deck will also be posted on the website along with the rest of the webinars in the series. And with that, I'd like to thank you and give you back a little bit of your time for the day, and wish you a good day. Oh, I see something in the chat question. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Have a great day, everyone.